Some luxury cars whisper wealth. These cars shout it. This video is not about speed. It is not about lap times. It is not about engineering numbers. This is about the moment luxury stops being quiet and starts demanding attention. Mansory does not design for approval. They design for reaction. Every build pushes beyond good taste, beyond restraint, beyond consensus. Some people call it art, others call it disrespect. Today we are ranking Mansory cars that divided the internet. From the builds that felt forced to the point where excess begins to feel intentional. These cars were never meant to blend in. They were built to be judged. Let us begin. Rank 10, Mansory Rolls-Royce Wraith. We start at number 10. The Rolls-Royce Wraith represents silent dominance. It is a grand tourer built on proportion, weight, and effortless authority from the factory. The Wraith does not chase attention. It commands it. The long hood, fastback roof, and uninterrupted surfaces create presence without aggression. Mansory disrupts that balance immediately. Sharper lines replace smooth transitions. Carbon fiber replaces softness. Vents appear where calm once existed. The grille becomes more aggressive. The wheels grow oversized. The visual center of gravity rises. Nothing here is poorly made. The craftsmanship is real. The materials are expensive, but intent becomes the issue. The Wraith was designed to feel inevitable. This version feels insistent. Some admire it because it looks expensive instantly. It photographs well. It signals wealth without explanation. For a certain beer. That is the goal, but critics see a loss of identity. Luxury here stops feeling confident. It starts asking for validation. This build prioritizes reaction over presence, shock over memory, volume over authority. The attention it attracts is immediate, but shallow. That is why it earns number 10. Because the excess works directly against the soul of the car. 9. Mansory Bentley Bentayga. At number 9, execution improves slightly, but tension remains. The Bentley Bentayga represents handcrafted luxury. Mass control through elegance, power expressed quietly. It is an SUV built to feel expensive without trying. Mansory pushes it in a different direction. The body becomes wider, the stance more aggressive. Carbon elements dominate the exterior. At first glance, the Bentayga gains presence. It looks imposing, even intimidating. Some design choices work. The wider track adds confidence. The road presence is undeniable. But other changes overwhelm. Too many elements compete. Too many textures fight for dominance. The calm that defines Bentley fades. Supporters argue this version finally looks as expensive as it is. Critics argue it looks restless. The craftsmanship remains, but the serenity is gone. This build sits in an uncomfortable middle ground, not fully aggressive, not fully elegant. It does not collapse, but it does not cohere either. That unresolved tension is why it lands at number 9. 8. Mansory Lamborghini Urus. At number 8, intention becomes clearer. The Lamborghini Urus was born aggressive, sharp lines, hard edges. A confrontational stance, it already lives loudly. Mansory understands this and leans into it. Carbon fiber additions feel expected. The widened arches support the original proportions. The Urus absorbs excess better than most SUVs. Presence is communicated through scale, not confusion. Respect begins to grow, but restraint still fails. Too many visual statements compete. Too many surfaces demand attention. the aggression turns theatrical. Some viewers admire the confidence. Others feel it crosses into parody. The Urus can handle drama. But even it has limits. This build makes sense. But it does not fully settle. That hesitation keeps it at number 8. Rank 7, Mansory Mercedes G-Class. Number 7 marks a turning point. The Mercedes G-Class has never been subtle. It is boxy, loud, and unapologetic. Excess is already part of its DNA. Mansory understands this clearly. Instead of reshaping the identity, they amplify it. The widened body fits the form. Exposed carbon panels feel intentional. The aggressive detailing aligns with the vehicle's personality. This build does not pretend to be elegant. It embraces confrontation. That honesty earns respect. Critics still argue it is too much, but fewer argue it is confused. The G-Class remains divisive, but it feels deliberate. This is excess with self-awareness. That clarity places it at number 7. 6. Mansory Ferrari SF90. At number 6, confidence replaces chaos. The Ferrari SF90 represents modern performance, precision, technology, forward motion. It is a car defined by control. Mansory approaches it carefully. The modifications emphasize speed, aerodynamics, and aggression without overwhelming the base shape. Carbon elements feel functional, not decorative. Proportions remain intact. The silhouette survives. Excess here becomes controlled rather than dominant. This build appeals to a different buyer, someone who wants individuality without sacrificing credibility. Criticism still exists, but it changes tone. The argument is no longer about disrespect. It is about preference. This marks the midpoint of the ranking, where Mansory excess begins aligning with purpose. That balance earns it number 6. Rank 5, Mansory Porsche 111 Turbo S at number 5. The conversation changes. The Porsche 911 Turbo S represents discipline. It is a car engineered around balance, efficiency, and evolutionary perfection. Nothing about it is meant to shock. That makes it one of the hardest platforms for Mansory to touch. Yet here, excess begins to feel justified. The exterior gains sharper definition. Carbon fiber replaces restraint. Aerodynamic elements become more pronounced, but the silhouette remains sacred. From every angle, it is still unmistakably a 911. The proportions survive. The stance feels grounded. The design feels engineered rather than styled. This matters. Critics soften their stance because intent becomes clear. The modifications serve performance and presence, not ego alone. This build does not scream wealth. It communicates confidence. The buyer this car speaks to understands heritage, but refuses anonymity. This is not rebellion. It is controlled deviation. That balance between tradition and individuality earns it number 5. For Mansory Aston Martin DBX, number 4 represents genuine execution. The Aston Martin DBX was designed as an emotional SUV. Elegant, athletic, and expressive, unlike many luxury SUVs. Its identity is visual before it is aggressive. Mansory respects this foundation. The body gains muscle, but the lines remain fluid. Carbon fiber accents follow existing contours. They enhance motion rather than interrupt it. The stance becomes assertive, yet composed. Inside, The upgrades focus on material richness, not sensory overload. Leather, carbon, and contrast are layered, not stacked. This build commands attention. Without chasing it, criticism still exists. But it shifts from outrage to discussion. The internet divides here, because this version challenges expectations without violating identity. It narrowly misses the top 3, because some excess still feels indulgent, but it proves Mansory can execute with maturity. That earns it number 4. 3. Mansory Bugatti Chiron. At number 3, excess becomes expression. The Bugatti Chiron already lives beyond reason. It is engineering without compromise, luxury without limits. Adding excess to excess should fail. But here, it does not. Mansory understands the canvas. The carbon work is intricate, not loud. Color choices feel deliberate, not random. The modifications amplify drama, without distorting form. Even skeptics pause, because the Chiron can absorb exaggeration. Without losing authority, the identity remains intact. The presence intensifies. This build does not compete with Bugatti. It collaborates with it. That is rare. Criticism becomes quieter, because arguments lose footing. This is not taste, it is comprehension. That understanding places it confidently at number 3. 2. Mansory Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Number 2 comes close to perfection. The Rolls-Royce Cullinan represents dominance through silence, scale without aggression, authority without effort. Touching it is controversial by default. Mansory approaches with rare restraint. The changes are visible, but calm. The stance grows wider. Materials become more expressive, yet the presence remains composed. Luxury is amplified, not replaced. Customization feels like evolution, not indulgence. The internet divides here sharply. Some believe Rolls-Royce should never be altered. Others see this as the ultimate expression of ownership. This build stops short of number 1, because even here, some excess feels unnecessary. But control never breaks. That balance between visibility and dignity earns it number 2. Rank 1. Mansory Mercedes S-Class. At number 1, everything aligns. The Mercedes S-Class defines modern luxury through intelligence, comfort, and quiet authority. It has never relied on shock. Mansory understands this. Instead of overwhelming the design, they enhance presence. Proportions are respected. Details are layered carefully. Nothing feels rushed. Nothing feels forced. Every modification feels earned. The S-Class remains elegant, yet unmistakably individualized. Excess here does not shout. It speaks with confidence. This build sets the benchmark because it proves something critical. Extreme customization does not require chaos. It requires clarity. The beer this car speaks to values distinction, not validation. That philosophy places it above the rest. This is Mansory at its most disciplined, most mature, and most effective. Looking across this ranking, one truth becomes unavoidable. Extreme luxury customization is not about right or wrong. It is about intention. Some builds chase attention. Others define it. These cars reflect ego, taste, confidence, and philosophy. The internet will always be divided. Because these machines were never built for consensus. They were built to provoke, to challenge, to be judged. In the world of extreme luxury, reaction is part of the product, whether admired or criticized. None of these cars were built to disappear, and for their owners, that may be the ultimate luxury.